only 50 days now until voters gather to caucus in Iowa, and the Carrick-Fox-Regan controversy could hardly have come at a worse time for Rudy Giuliani, especially as he's currently placing third in Iowa. Our fourth story on the countdown, all eyes on the Hawkeye State. After seemingly being destined for an also-ran position, the former Arkansas governor, Mike Huckabee, is now beating Giuliani and nipping at Mitt Romney's heels in Iowa. A New York Times CBS poll finding that 27% of Republican caucus goers say they will support Romney, 21% Huckabee, 15% Giuliani. Giuliani slips even lower in a Zogby poll from last week, got only 11% to Huckabee's 15% to Romney's overwhelming 31%. As for the former frontrunner, Senator McCain, currently languishing in 5th place in both polls, he's trying to defend the indefensible after a voter in South Carolina called Hillary Clinton an extremely disrespectful epithet, an epithet that he, through lack of censure, appeared to support.
How do we beat the bitch?
May I give the translation? The way that...
God, I thought you was talking about my ex-wife.
But that's an excellent question. You might know that there was a poll yesterday, a Rasmussen poll, identified, that shows me 3 points ahead of Senator Clinton in a head-to-head matchup. I respect Senator Clinton. I respect anyone who gets the nomination of the Democrat Party.
In response to criticism of that reaction, his campaign retorted that, quote, Senator McCain has expressed his utmost respect for Senator Clinton numerous times on the campaign trail, as he did at Monday's event in Hilton Head, neglecting the fact that, as you just heard, before expressing that alleged respect, the senator first laughed, then riffed on the foul comment before finally calling it an excellent question. Not to mention disrespecting Clinton's Democratic Party by referring to it as the Democrat Party. Let's just drop the last letter of Senator McCain's party to balance it out. The Republica Party. Even more egregious, late this evening, the McCain campaign used the incident to try to raise money. Campaign manager Rick Davis emailing supporters, asking them to help McCain fight against his media critics with cash. Quote, please make your most generous contribution from $25 up to the maximum limit of $2,300 to the only candidate who can defeat Hillary Clinton. At least they left the B word off that. Let's turn to our reporter, Dana Milbank, our political commentator and analyst, national political reporter for the Washington Post. Dana, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Let's start with McCain's response here. He respects her, but he didn't respect her enough to suggest that to the idiot in the restaurant that the term is inappropriate in a public place, right?
Well, let's be clear. John McCain is not campaigning for some knighthood in some order of chivalry here. He is campaigning for the Republican presidential nomination, and he knows darn well that it would be absolute suicide to get up there and quarrel with this particular phraseology. And indeed, I'm not at all surprised that he's trying to raise money on it. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that that lady was a planted question.
Well, also, given the fact that it did change the topic a little bit, the plant might have been coming from Mrs. Clinton's campaign, too. That's another, I mean, that's like a 1,000-to-1 shot, but it would be really genius politics. But the McCain response to this now, to attack CNN for covering it, tonight ABC covered it, it was a big deal on World News, everybody else has covered it in between. It sounds as if the lessons of Macaca were not really learned elsewhere. If it's on tape, don't defend it. You know, just apologize, then it goes away, right? I mean, if he had just said afterwards it was inappropriate to use that terminology in that context, wouldn't this have gone away?
I don't think he wants it to go away. I think that's the important part here. And if George Allen were campaigning, as he had hoped to be doing for the Republican presidential nomination, I don't think Macaca would have knocked him off course there either. This is this is a tough crowd that he's competing for right now. He's competing for a very hardcore of voters in the Republican Party who have a lot of history of distrust of him. Not the time to be defending Hillary Clinton.
So why is it okay, though, if Democrat X used this about female Republican Y, wouldn't there have been a storm of protest?
If it had a Democratic candidate said it, absolutely. Playing to that base, a bit of sexism would be a lot less appealing. But we should point out that we haven't heard a whole lot of bitching, shall we say, from Hillary Clinton's campaign, because it helps to distract her from all sorts of unpleasant issues, such as the planted questions.
One thing about the Republican race in Iowa that has nothing to do with Mr. McCain, our friend Craig Crawford had an interesting point, that Giuliani appears to have put himself in exactly the wrong spot, that he campaigned just hard enough there to guarantee he will not be perceived as ignoring Iowa, but he did not campaign hard enough nor frequently enough to do better than second or maybe third. Did he put himself in a lose-lose?
I'm not sure he put himself in this lose-lose position, but he is in what appears to be a losing situation, in that he is counting on everybody roughing each other up and waiting all the way until February 5th in the big super-duper Tuesday primary here. But this has all along been a rather dicey issue, and he's back double digits in the two most important places.
Well, maybe he can salvage it by calling Judith Regan a bee. Dana Milbank of the Washington Post and MSNBC. Great, thanks, Dana.
Thanks, Keith.
They are calling